All right, looks like we're live. It is Wednesday, December 1st, start of a new month. Hopefully a better month for everybody with trading. I know November was pretty wild. A lot of good day trades. I've been I haven't been streaming as much the last couple weeks. Uh, so I don't know how many people are going to be in here today cuz this was kind of late and unexpected, but just first off, just to clarify, so we or an update, I guess. Um, my high school football team, we're playing in the state playoffs, so I've been really busy with that and schoolwork. Um, if we win this weekend, we'll have one more game the following weekend, and then after that, I should have a little bit more free time to start getting back on here daily and also start putting up some update videos to some of my plays. I don't think I've made a like an uploaded video in probably about a month now, maybe a month and a half. So, um, really excited about what's in store for our football season, but also kind of excited to get back in the regular groove of things and get some time off and have some extra time here at home. So, anyways, with the markets, let's see what's up. Or actually, who's in here? We got 6'8 Spindrift. What's up? Happy hump day. Joseph Scott, what's up? Good morning. Josh Stewart, what's going on? Um, Sly Dev, been lost in the mornings, not having much to watch. Yeah, you know what? Too, it when I don't stream, and I know I've said this before, it throws me off my game too because I'm so used to it now and just like prepping and looking through, what stocks are moving for the day. And the days that I've been like sleeping in, it's been throwing me off because then I wake up and I end up not trading and just kind of, maybe adding to some positions and things like that. But Scotty, what's up? What's going on? Kenneth Wallace, good morning. Um, but yeah, and I really enjoy doing this too. It's just it's been a lot with football, and then my schoolwork's still going on, and so got to give in somewhere. Unfortunately, it's been the YouTube channel, but that should change pretty shortly, and then we'll also go on break for school and all that kind of stuff. So, anyways, we're here this morning. Rick, what's up? Good morning. Cuckoo Bird, what's going on? Um, so first thing I wanted to point out, just because one play that I did just enter into this morning was NUZE, NUZE. Um, I do think that this has some potential to run here. Just looking at the charts, um, it already had a nice pop coming up from $2 up to a high intraday of 760 and then kind of came back down. But yesterday when it popped back up, I also noticed a lot of hype on social media, Reddit, some of the forums that I've been finding plays in. A lot of people talking about this stock. I think it has the potential to probably move even higher. It is a squeeze play, very small float. I think the float's at like 11 million right now. And let me see here where we at. The short interest isn't high, but the cost to borrow is extremely high. Utilization's high, and being that it's such a tiny float, that's what makes it kind of intriguing. I think if it gets some volume behind it today, we could see it get up here and test these previous highs from earlier in November, which would probably equate to about 100% move. So I did grab a little bit. I want to stress a little bit though, because there is still a significant downside too, so if all of a sudden this thing reverses, it has a lot of room to drop. I mean, that's like a 75% drop or maybe a 50% drop in the other direction if it was to go back and test all-time lows. But I did enter in with a small position, looking to see if this movement it had yesterday continues, and we see this thing double up, maybe even go higher. So, yeah, that's NUZE. Just jumped into that one this morning. And then just looking at some of the other plays, I did put Prague up here just because I wanted to talk about it. I know I haven't streamed a lot recently, but Prague was one that a play that I was in before we actually I didn't put it up here, but let me see. Let me get Prague. Before the last couple streams we did, Prague was still kind of in that range of like, is it still a play? Is it done? I'm not entirely sure that it's done, but I'm completely out right now. I know I talked about these are some alerts that I set. Let me clear these off. There we go. And I'm going to drag that down. There we go. All right. So, max pain for this one was at 350. And when it fell down, yeah, it's still 350. When it got back down here, I think this is the 23rd. Where are we at? I was kind of saying that, now that it's trading at max pain, I would imagine it'll probably, go a little bit lower. Max pain at the time was around 4. And then max pain dropped to 350, and it's been kind of getting pinned and getting walked down. And so my assumption is we're going to see this thing trade sideways for a while now. Who knows how long, but we've seen the same type of price action happen with, ADR, BBIG, a lot of these plays, shit, even CLOV for that matter, going back months. So, for me, I'm completely out. I did buy those calls. What was it? Last week, I think, for the $5 strike, and it said if it was to break above 5, at least I can exercise those and be in the game. Now I'm just out, and so I'm just kind of sitting on the sidelines waiting. And if we see this thing break above 4, I'll jump back in intraday. If it holds above 350, for a couple days in a row, I might jump back in too. But for right now, I'm kind of thinking, market makers have control of Prague, and we're not going to see this thing have any sort of explosive movement anytime soon. There was some news on a patent yesterday that could be a potential catalyst to get it to move higher. But we saw what happened. I mean, it exploded up above 350, and by the end of the day, it got walked right back down. A lot of stuff went down yesterday too. I think most of that was due to the SPY. If we look at what happened here, the overall markets dropped. What was this, around 7:30 yesterday on the West Coast, and hit an intraday low right before the close of 455. It did bounce back. It's all the way back up to 462 right now. Interesting times right here with the market. Every time that the SPY has dipped recently, I mean, and we've seen these dips. I know I've talked about them on here too. But it has come down and like touched this 50 SMA every time. Every time it goes on its little dip before recovering, or sometimes even fell below it. I did not here though. So, but then it still came back and fell through. So, I don't know if this dip is over. I mean, there's a lot of fear right now, or I don't know if it's fear, but news and Media talking about the new variant COVID strain. There's some other stuff going on right now too that could affect the markets. Um, we are looking to open up somewhere around here. Um, it wouldn't shock me at all if all of a sudden, at the open, we started to see this thing kind of start creeping back down and come test this 50 SMA and maybe even fall lower. I got lucky last Friday. I had some puts that I held over Thanksgiving. And so when everything was kind of tanking on Friday, I did cash those out. Now I wish I would have kept them. And it cashed out yesterday, but it's always hard to time the bottom and the top. So, but always good to take profits too. So, not complaining. Let's see. Turts, what's up? Good morning. Shrimply. That reminds me. I don't know why when I saw Shrimply, it just reminded me. The pool is over. The NFL pool. What's going on here? In Spectron. Where are we at? Looks like Shrimply. Oh, Shrimply was the last one standing besides in Spectron. That's why when I saw your name, I was like, it reminded me of the pool. So, in Spectron, I don't know if you're in here today, but if not, I'll be reaching out to you. I know originally I think I had said this was months ago when we started this, and I said whoever won would get a credit on the merchandise store or something like that. I never made a merchandise store. I probably won't either, but well, I think it was $200 or something like that. So I'll hit you up in Spectron, and I mean, shit, I could Venmo you or transfer you some CLOV shares, $200 worth if that's what you want, or whatever it is. But we'll figure it out. But congratulations. I had a lot of fun doing it. I'm looking forward now at this point. We're in December. Maybe we'll do another pool for like March Madness or something like that. But that was a lot of fun. Shrimply said Cowboys let me down. Yeah, no, I actually tore it up on Thanksgiving. I had so I picked, and my picks have been terrible lately on the show I do with Ghost, the NFL show. We've been making NFL picks, but I actually had a good Thanksgiving. I took who was it? The Lions in the morning. They covered. I took the Raiders in the over, and then I took the Bills in the over. Bills covered big time, but the Raiders, or I mean the over in that game was terrible. The Saints just couldn't score at all. So, but still, I was pretty money on Thanksgiving because that was the week, right? Yeah, that was last week. So the Cowboys lost to the Raiders. Let's see. Noar said, could you take a look at VBIV? Oh, wow. Nice little spike there. So it closed yesterday at 3. It's at 370 now. It's almost a 30% gain, 357. VBIV vaccine shares are trading higher after the company announced FDA approval of Prevebrio for the prevention of hepatitis B. Okay. So they just got FDA approval. Looks like all-time low is 245. I don't know if this is all-time. Let's check the weekly view. Oh, this used to be a penny stock, but either way, that was a long time ago. All-time high looks like almost $7. Recent highs of 435 and 484. Yeah, that looks pretty intriguing. That did not come up on my scanner over here, but let's see here. $200 million float. This could be pretty interesting today. So it looks like it had a decent day yesterday too. It's almost a 10% gain yesterday. Looks like it previously kind of caught resistance at this 50 SMA too. If it breaks above this, well, actually it looks like it's going to open up here at 350. Maybe some resistance in there. It also has a gap to fill right in here up to 361, but it's creating a new gap too, so a gap down. But yeah, I mean, shit, if this thing starts moving and breaks above this 380 range, we could probably see it go test this 431 today. So that's definitely one to keep an eye on this morning. Let me see something. All right. Okay. Let's see who we got in here. Faith, good morning. Michael, what's up? Zeke for Bleak. Says PTPI might be spiking. Yeah, you know, NUZE, NUZE, I was talking about that one this morning, or, you know, when we first started the stream, and it really looks very similar price action wise to those other two, PTPI. These are ones that were running more recently. You know, you can see how much this thing jumped up to 526. It's back down here. I don't know if these ones are over yet either, but it's just been all over the place. They're extremely low float. If I remember correctly, I think PTPI is only like a 6 million float. You know, and then looking at like Ortex data on those. So I'll just bring this one up because I already have it up. But like, you know, even though the short interest is minimal, 9%, it's more into like the cost to borrow and the utilization on these because they're extremely low float. So then we look at like PTPI, very similar. All right, let me get up the minute chart too. There we go. Ooh, much higher too. 28% short interest. Cost to borrow 254, utilization 99. So that one looks a little bit better. And then the other one that also had similar price action recently was PPSI. I want to say the float on that one's even smaller, like 3 million. 22% of the free float on loan, 181, utilization 89. So, but yeah, if this one starts running again and starts spiking up, it could really move. So I'm gonna add that one onto my watch list today too. So in terms of today, I like, what is this? All right. I'm gonna add VBIV, PTPI, and then I did open up a position in NUZE this morning before the bell, just because I think that this one has the potential to have some continuation of this move. We had a big move with some consolidation. It bounced back up yesterday, and I think that it could continue and test this high right here, but a little bit of a bigger float there. I mean, not much, but 11 million. Anyways, the other one that came up on my scanner this morning was AUVI. I don't have a position in this. This would be like a day trade type thing. Same thing with these other ones I was just talking about. Kind of wait for it to break above the 50. Play some sort of bounce. Who knows? I mean, it's got a huge gap up here. If all of a sudden we see it kind of reverse and take off, could be for a nice intraday move. Where we at here? Let me see. The one that I have not talked about this morning was AGC. And I'll pull it up here just so we could take a look at it, because I do think that day late dollar short, what's up? Steve the Baker, do we have a new floor yet? If you're talking about CLOV, I have no idea. Robin, actually, we'll get to AGC in a second. Let me go to catch up on the chat. So Robin says, any advice on closing selling call options at market open? I'm told market sells at open are asking for trouble. Yeah, honestly, the worst time to kind of like get in and out of call options is right at the market open. I mean, there's times when, if you're underwater on an options play, let's say like a call, and you want to get out of it, you could see some nice spikes at market open because of IV, and then it's like, yeah, I'll pull the trigger and get out. But for the most part, I usually like to wait 10 to 15 minutes at least, just to kind of let things settle in. Because if you do a market order, sometimes the bid and ask is so wide on those option spreads that you could really get killed. Same thing with buying options at market open for the very same reason. So let's say you want to enter into a play and you're like, hey, I'm going to grab AGC options right when it opens. Well, so many people might be doing it, and all of a sudden now the bid ask gets super high because of IV, and then you end up buying something on let's say a 60-point spread, and now all of a sudden, right off the gate, if you bought it at, as a market order, it's going to come in and you're 30 cents down right away. So I usually like to keep my option orders, wait like 15 minutes or so, let everything settle down, and then go in and buy it. And more often than not, you're better off with a limit order anyways when you're buying options. The only time I'll really go in and grab something right off the gate is when we have a continuation. So let's say, like, for instance, I'll just use AGC as an example because we have it up right now. Let's say this thing just started marching up and up and up, and it's going up, and we see the open and it dips down and then it keeps ripping, and it's kind of like, okay, this thing's going now. Sometimes I'll go in and buy right then and there, but usually you'll get much better pricing if you just wait 10 minutes, let it settle down, and then same thing trying to sell. If you were trying to sell, I would put in a limit order, unless the thing's dropping and you think that it's going to continue down lower. But um, it's usually best to wait. Louis, what's up? Good morning. Noah says check CNTX now. Let's see. Oh wow, that is, if my memory serves correctly, a short squeeze play as well. Or no, I'm thinking CRTX. What's the deal with CNTX? There's no news that I could see behind this either. $1.5 million float. You got to be careful with something that tiny. But yeah, that's a huge jump. I might look up the short interest on that anyways, just because, anytime you see a jump like that on a float that small, even if the short interest is relatively tiny, no, there's nothing there. 1% free float on loan. So, yeah, it's just a tiny float. 1.5 million. All right. So I wanted to talk about AGC real quick. This is one that I've been in for quite a while now. I want to maybe over a month. I want to say we got in somewhere back here at 12. I did sell half here and added back on because the catalyst that I was waiting for hasn't really played out yet. So this is a SPAC that's merging with Grab. It's an app out in Asia that, from what I've read, they do like DoorDash, and it's kind of like Uber and DoorDash kind of mixed together. and Amazon and everything else. Like, it's just kind of the go-to app for everything. But anyways, it's a SPAC that's merging with them. Relatively small float and high short interest. So if we pull up AGC, floats 41 million. I can see this playing out similar to VIH. VIH had a smaller float. But if we look at the short interest on this thing, let's see here. AGC. They just voted on the merger yesterday. It was approved. Ticker change is coming tomorrow. It's going to be GRAB. And why can't I get this data? There we go. 53% estimated free float or short interest right now. Okay, almost 30% of the free floats on loan. Cost to borrow is up tremendously. It's at 324 right now. Utilization's at 99. We haven't seen a ton of volume in this stock. If all of a sudden volume picks up, kind of picks up, we could see this thing really explode. I think this could have a VIH BKKT type of move where, with BKKT and I'm not entirely sure where the merger was now because it's been so long, but I want to say it switched ticker symbols somewhere around here and then dipped down to 8 and then took off. So I am expecting that maybe this could dip. I mean, these things don't always play out the same, but with short interest that high, you're going to have warrant redemptions and so much other stuff happening with it. I'm expecting that we could see, this type of movement. I got out way too early on BKKT. I sold here. And as you can see, it kept on going. But with anything though, and I'll kind of say this again. It's like I want to see if I could figure out when this day was. So that was 10/25. Yeah, but this ticker symbol is going to change over tomorrow to grab. So GRAB. Um, and that's kind of what I've been waiting for. The reason that I didn't sell everything up here at 18. And I'll still kind of just be holding on. The other thing that was intriguing about this is ever since since it came in as a SPAC, it's never been trading below NAV. It's always been trading above 10, where like a VIH kind of dipped below. And so, like I said, these things always play out a little bit different. This may not have any sort of big explosive movement, but 53% short interest, cost to borrow at 324, utilization at 99. I think we're going to see some explosive price action. But with all of these, I mean, I wouldn't YOLO into anything because nothing's guaranteed. You know, um, there's no way of knowing how these things are going to play out. There's no way of knowing how high they can go. Max pain right now is at $15. It's also something to be aware of. When I first got into this play, max pain was at 10 and it was trading at 12, and that's what brought me to it. Now it's under max pain because max pain keeps going up. But when the ticker change comes and all of a sudden if we see some sort of catalyst, I could see this thing exploding upwards and really paying off like that VIH play did. So this is where most of my focus has been recently. That's the big one that I'm waiting on. And as you can see, the volatility's been kind of crazy as it is right now. I mean, it's been having some huge swings daily. Like I said, volume-wise, looks like in recent days, we've been seeing, where are we at? 3 million, 2 million, 1 million, 3 million. So not a lot. But if all of a sudden, like this day over here, we had 44 million in volume, and you could see it spiked from 12 up to 16. If all of a sudden, again with the ticker change, or even might be a week or so after the ticker change, but sometime during this quarter, you get some sort of announcement that comes afterwards, we could really see this thing fly. IV's pretty high right now. I would say shares are safer than options. But while I say that, I also own some options. So, but for my options contracts, I went out to January, and I think they're April's. I don't think there was February's. Let me see. Yeah, I went January and April on those. So anyways, that's my kind of next play. See, I haven't even looked around at any of these other stocks recently. Thomas, what's up? We got AGC. I'm going to put NUZE right back up here again, since that's I do have an open position right now in that. And throw CLOV up here and see what's happening. All right. So all right. Thomas says, how important is GME 200 resistance? You know what? It's so hard to say because, with GameStop, I mean, I don't know. I'm starting to, it's like I have this alert that I set last week, 245, because it was kind of bouncing and I wanted to see it break above this. But I really feel like any sort of technical analysis um, hasn't really meant much. There was a nice play here. I was talking about this back at the beginning of November when we saw it break above. Every time it kind of breaks above this 50 SMA, you see some nice movement. I did play some options on this spike. Sold half of them and held on to the other half, which burnt up, but made enough here to make it worthwhile. But anyways, I don't know. I mean, I think more so if we can hold this 50 SMA, I feel like that's usually, if you could see like last time it spiked up, this is back in August. It was really catching resistance up here, but it bounced off that. Once it kind of trends under, it kind of trades sideways for a while. Um, I know there was some news recently about I think it was, I forget who reported it, FinViz or something, said that the short interest was above 100%. And then all of a sudden, um, they came out and said that was an error. It's, I don't know. I mean, with me, with GameStop, I've read so much DD on it in the past and everything else, and it does seem like this stock is extremely manipulated. I personally believe that the short interest still exists there, and they've been hiding it through the use of options and so many other things. And I've just been kind of holding on to my shares, and occasionally when I see the opportunity, grabbing some options in it, and just playing it and holding on. But I have no expectations in terms of like when it's going to explode and all that. As you can see, earnings are coming up. I think they're next Wednesday. And in recent times, after earnings, we've seen a massive drop. I mean, this is going back to March. We saw it fall from the 200 level down to 123. Back in June, we saw it come off a high at 344 and then drop down to 200. The previous earnings, though, was trading at a 206, dropped down to 177. So we are looking at earnings coming up right now. I don't know what to expect. I mean, I know one of the reasons, or one of what's been happening with GameStop in recent earnings calls is they haven't given any guidance. They've just kind of been like, hey, we want this, we want it to be based off our actions, and so, it's just kind of been like they haven't said anything about what they're doing. There's been a lot of speculation. We've seen them buy warehouses. We've seen the website change. We've seen them hiring people for NFT type development. And so there's been all kinds of stuff happening behind the scenes with GameStop, but they haven't given any guidance. If all of a sudden this earnings call, they give some guidance, or they say, hey, this is what's been going on with our crypto team, or this is what's been going on with this, maybe that could be a catalyst. Who knows? But I'm still holding, just kind of sitting in there. Every time it kind of falls below, like that 150 range, which hasn't happened in a while, I add on, because I feel like long-term potential for this company, I could see it trading above 300 on its own merit, but that would probably be 2-3 years from now. But I've been kind of adding in there. Anyways, yeah, I don't know how important that 200 level is. I really think that technicals right now, the way this stock is, mean nothing. It can, jump from 150 to 250 in a day. All right, where we at? Dennis D says you're streaming. I thought you quit. No, I didn't quit. I've just been extremely busy. We're in state playoffs right now for my the high school team I coach on. We're actually traveling down to Bakersfield on Friday. We have a game on Saturday. If we win, we turn around and play again in Orange County the following week. Also, things have been picking up with my doctoral research, so I'm still kind of working on that, and something's got to give. And unfortunately, it's been the YouTube streaming. I've been kind of, if I'm up late working on my research paper, I'm sleeping in. It is what it is. But I would expect that, at least in the next probably couple weeks, I'll be getting back to normal. I'm not gonna quit streaming. I enjoy it too much. I really do. It kind of keeps me on my toes, coming in every morning and basically I look at this like I'm spending 2 hours of research on the markets before the market opens, and it really does make me a better trader. It makes me more kind of in tune with what's happening, and a lot of times people in the chat are calling things out. I love it. So yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I just been kind of needing the rest some days. Fluffer says, Coach, did you exit Prague? Yes, I did. I talked about it a little bit. Good morning too, Fluffer. Nice to see you in here. So, I think it was last week. Let me see. Everything seemed last week was so weird with the weird, different days and stuff. But, Max Payne's at 350. I had those call options last week that were set to expire or, on Friday. And I had said I bought $5 call options when I exited this position up here. Just because if it continued to go up and go above, go above $5, then I would exercise those and be back in the game. It didn't. It really feels to me like market makers are in control of this. Yesterday it did pop above 350 and got up to 368, but and that was on the patent news, and then they walked it right back down. I think once these stocks get below Max Payne, with high IV like Prague has, it's really hard for them to get back above it. That's when now you're not just fighting short sellers, you're fighting market makers too, and I feel like that's where Prague's at right now. I did set this alert. It was higher. I actually adjusted it this morning. I said, if we can hold above 350, maybe for a couple days, then I'll look to jump in because that's telling me that they could stay above Max Payne. Or if intraday I see it explode upwards to $4, I'll jump in intraday. And that's why I set that alert there, because I feel like there could still be some potential here. I mean, if you look, going back, this is all the way to, September 29th when it started this run. You have more than 100% move, and then it gives it back. Not all back, but it gives some back. And this is the one time it bounced off the 50 down to 126, and then it moved over 100%, and then it gave some back, consolidated, came down to 211, moved almost 200%, consolidated, and now it's at 222, ran all the way up to 438, almost a 200% move. Consolidated on a much longer time frame down to 289, and then again more than 100% move up to 618. So that could just be what it's doing right now, but the difference is all throughout these moves it was always trading above Max Payne, and that's what brought me to the play back when I got in at like 220ish. Is that Max Payne at the time was 1. Now Max Payne's at 350 and we're below there. That doesn't mean it's over. It could very well still be alive. I don't know. I'm kind of trying to be more careful with it now, because I don't want to be sitting there holding on to it, if they walk it all the way back down to 66 cents. I don't think, from what I've read fundamentally about the stock, I don't think that should be possible. But at the same time, Shit, I didn't think that was possible with Clove either. I mean, look where Clove's at right now. We're all the way down to $5, and I still think Clove is a $20 stock. So, at least. So, yeah, I'm just trying to play it careful with Prague. I'm thinking if it jumps back above $4, then I would say okay, it's gonna get up here and go blow through this and create a new high, maybe go to 7 or 8, and I'm very comfortable with getting in at 4 and getting that 100% move there. Then holding here and having it come down. Now, if I was holding shares still, um, I would look for it to bounce off this 50. I mean, it's kind of like it did back here. If it breaks through this 50, I would definitely be out at that point. I mean, it's not worth holding all the way down even lower. So just something to keep in mind. But yeah, that's my position right now. Turd says, Coach, McWade is doing spaces aftermarket. Yeah, I know. I've been trying. So a couple times I went in there and listened. And he actually hit me up like, hey, get on here and speak. But, I'm still in school during that time. And then we have meetings right after school with the team, film sessions and things like that. And it's just been crazy. We won last Friday and found out that we have to travel 4.5 hours for our game this week. And so we've just been like getting a hotel room situated, food. How do you feed 100 people? Last minute, especially during COVID, what restaurants can accommodate and all that kind of stuff. And so it's just been really crazy lately. But I've been listening in when I can. Anybody who's not familiar but is on Twitter, definitely something to check out, especially if you're in Clove like I am. Let me see if I could find McWage real quick on here. I'll put it up here. There we go. All right, so his Twitter handle is @WageMart. I'll throw it in the chat right now too. There we go. If you follow him on Twitter, every day right after market close, he's been doing these Twitter spaces. A lot of people been going on there and talking, sharing information, talking about the markets in general. A lot of emphasis on Clove. Definitely worth checking out. Michael says our high school football team ended up losing state to Joliet Catholic. Mike Allstott's high school. Okay. Yeah, we still got 2 games. The way they do it in California, you have a regional playoff, and then if you win that, you go on to the entire state. So we're in Northern California. You play one Northern California game, and then you go play the state game. So that's where we're at right now. Pretty exciting though. We haven't been to state in I think 4 years or 5 years. So we still got one more game before we get there, but hopefully I'll be telling you guys the same thing next week. Still busy with football. Day late dollar short says, did I look at Clove December 17 options chain right? Looks crazy. Let me check it out. I remember this is going back even to I want to say like July, June. The November and December chains were pretty loaded up. One thing you do want to remember though too is the float size is much bigger now. Let me move this over real quick. NUZE isn't looking great right now. All right, let's see this. We got 10,000, 15,000, 10, 14. That $15, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, for the way the float size is, like back in April, May, June, having 10,000 calls in here was a big deal. But the float size on CLOV right now, I don't even know what it's reporting at after where we at now. My swab is saying 260, but I think it's even higher than that. So we're looking at almost a 200% increase in the float size. I think we need a lot more options there to really move it and have like a gamma squeeze type move. Now, again, we're only looking at the December 17th chain though, right? So if all of a sudden you start including in, let's look at another monthly. I know January, these were the original leaps, and they did have quite a bit of action in there. But you start incorporating everything in there, across the entire chain, then that kind of makes a little bit of difference. If we look at maxpain.com, let me see. Looks like max pain right now for this week is 550. I mean, you can kind of see this ramp here. What is that? 1 point. Oh, they do it based off dollar amounts on this website, though. But you can see that this thing kind of ramps up. But yeah, I don't think that the option chain is anything to get excited about right now. I mean, in the past, before things exploded in June, and even after they did, there was some huge whale buys coming in. I mean, the original kind of gamma squeeze potential on CLOV went all the way back to like April or March. And there was just so much, heavy options activity, probably 5 times as much as what we just saw in that December chain in each individual monthly chain. And when those passed, you just see more kind of come popping back in and more come popping back in. And every time, the March, the April, the May didn't happen, you'd see more big whale buys on the option chain coming in and loading up future chains. And I think that's really what helped that movement in June. And I just don't see it right now. That being said, that could change at any time, right? So Michael says, how do you feed 100 people? Call Chef Daddy. Yeah. It's just, well, the hard part too is, just being in an unfamiliar city, not having, so it's like, where do you seat 100 people? We figured it out though. I found a pizza place that I think had a private banquet room for like 90. And anyways, yeah, we think we got it figured out. Thomas, I just read your comment. That's hilarious. That's good to hear. See, that's what I love about those spaces too, is you see some of these names and everything on here, and you see, people in the Discord, people on here, and then when you get on the spaces, you get an opportunity to actually go in and hear their voice. And it just, it really, I feel like I've made a lot of friends doing this since we've started, and it's awesome. And so, yeah, I definitely, whenever I can, I'll try to jump on those spaces. Nah, Thomas, I knew that was you. Let's see here. CLOV was looking, I saw all of a sudden it popped up to 505, and there it is, back sub 5. NUZE looks like NUZE looks like it's taking off again. For anyone who joined in late, I think this one has some potential to be a runner today. I did open up a position. It looked like it kind of already had its squeeze. And then it was getting walked down, and yesterday it kind of broke out of this wedge, and I think we might see some continuation today with some volume. So I did buy a small position in this. I'm not going crazy with it because there is still a lot of room to the downside. But there's no options on this, and it's a extremely small float. So one that I'm keeping my eye on today. I do have an open position right now. All right. Turt says, I think the offering on CLOV was to keep them flush with capital in case government reduces or suspends payments. Yeah, I just wish that they would say something. That's the only frustrating part. Well, besides the price action, but companies usually don't care about price action unless they're trying to raise capital. Um, but obviously as a shareholder, the price action's been super frustrating. Being that we're at all time lows and all that right now. But, with the announcement of the offering and everything else, and after they just had an earnings call where they said that, they were basically almost operating at profitability, and what their expectations and the guidance they gave and everything else, and then they just come out and have this share offering. It didn't make any sense. So I just wish that they would have came out and said um, why they were doing the offering. And I see what you're saying, no PR because they're in a 40-day quiet period after close of offering, but couldn't they? And I could be wrong on this. And Turks, if you know the answer, I'd love to hear it. But couldn't they have said something ahead of time, like, "Hey, we are looking at doing an offering because you know." And then, I mean, I just think that they kind of owe it to their shareholders. Um, Patrick says, "What's your exit plan on NUZE?" You know what? Like I said, I'm in for a very small position for me, the reason that I got in was because I think that if this extends, I want to see it blow past this all-time high. So if it was to get up here and touch not all-time high but recent high, if it was to get up here and touch like this 767 level and start bouncing down, I'll probably get out completely. Or if it blows past it, I'll start slowly scaling out, on the way up, because who knows how high these things can go, you know. So just kind of, so either a blow past, I'll scale out, resistance here and coming back down, I'll just get out and take my profit. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Now, obviously, if things go south, I'm not going to be holding this below yesterday's lows. I'll be out somewhere in here, maybe even at this $4 range or something. So that's kind of what my game plan is. Ghost, what's up, man? I'm so I know I mentioned it earlier, but I missed the show this week, the NFL show, because of football. We had a meeting and some other stuff going on, and felt terrible about it, but really looking forward to the rest of the season and catching Ghost on my NFL picks. I think I'm ready for a turnaround. No one could be as terrible as I've been picking NFL games this year. uh, I see you guys are saying there's a quiet period, but I'm just thinking. I feel like they could have said something prior to the offering. I don't know. I just, um, yeah, frustrating, but my long term outlook on the company hasn't changed, and I'm still holding. Ross says, "How can we watch the game Friday?" You know what? If I figure that out, like a stream link, usually they're televised, but I know that's only in California. But if there's a stream link, maybe I'll post it on like my video tomorrow or something like that. But we are at market open. I did not hear a bell, which tells me that my computer is muted right now. Um, but just I am gonna have to sign off here in a second. Just looking around. it does look like maybe the SPY is starting to give some back. I kind of expected that. It gapped up this morning, 5%. Kind of see what happens there. Looks like NUZE might be ready for liftoff. And everything else is probably going to follow the SPY. Michael just took a cheap shot at Ghost. It picked the easy games. Oh man. All right, guys. I'm gonna take off. Thank you for joining me this morning. Appreciate the support. Sorry I haven't been on every day. But hopefully I'll be able to get back on here tomorrow and Friday before we take off and get back in the swing of things. But thank you again. Good luck in the markets today. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.